And I think Mr. Donald Trump had said it before. I mean, maybe in your format or in the past, Mr. Donald Trump had said that, So there's not such a thing as global warming caused by the pollution produced by human beings. But actually, there's no. Or he meant, this is my understanding, but I mean, he means that, so human beings have, so roughly saying, human beings have, emitted, many things, polluting the environment or polluting the ecosystem. For example, the typical example is, carbon dioxide or carbon dioxide. Anyway, so maybe some people understand that CO2 as carbon dioxide, maybe, but actually carbon dioxide is the correct pronunciation, I think. And so but actually, so I think human activities, I don't know whether it's fine to say, but actually, if you have cars, for example, you drive, and some people drive cars for commuting to their workplaces. Well, some of you may use your own cars for going to for commuting to your own workplaces, and cars emit many gaseous substances or gaseous objects. Anyway, so please imagine that that those emitted gas from your cars or from other cars. And of course, I think that those emitted substances contribute to the global warming these days. But actually, so there's a theory or there's a principle, scientific principle that this is a natural phenomena, which means so we are on the crust, or we are on the time of global warming, meaning so roughly this is an extreme condition, but if human beings, or if we have not polluted, or if we hadn't polluted this ecosystem, we would face, or we would face this global warming, or this type of global warming. And that is such a theory, roughly, extremely roughly saying, and because this the ecosystem has many phases, like the crest and the troughs of temperatures. And I'm sorry for my clumsy manner of describing things, but actually I'm a non-native speaker of English language, meaning I don't speak English natively, so which is why so I'm extremely bad at explaining things, and which means so bringing the topic into the main track, which is global warming. And the global warming is that some people say that global warming is one of the natural changes, meaning so there's a phase of how should I say freezing era. Wait a moment, please. I don't know how to say that. This time is a warming era, and another era is that there's a freezing era. Wait a moment, please. I don't know how to say this. Ice age. English is really simple. Ice age. So ice age is one of the natural changes, and as well as ice change, there's a maybe. So if that is an ice age, that would be not hot age. I can't find out a word to describe that age, which may come in the future. That is a hot age. Actually, I'm going to create a phrase which is hot age. This phrase hot age is really this phrase hot age is usable. Well, this is active only in this episode, there's a hottage, and this time is a global. This time is an era of global warming, and meaning so after globally after this situation, not this situation, after this world having globally warmed, comes an era which is hot age as well. In the case of Ice Age, it's really cold, or it had been really cold in the time of Ice Age, but in the time of the Ice Age, but actually, in the future, a hot age may come, which is what I'm saying, and in that era, it will be, or it's going to be, but actually, it is really hot. Such a thing, and which means so, applying the futuristic form to the verb, it's going to be really hot, hot as always, which is next era, which is what I'm saying. And I should introduce myself, and I should tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode. And actually, this is not a digression, so I haven't told you the title and the conclusion of this episode. And wait a moment, please. By the way, so I'm Richard Gon of Work to Live podcast version, and Work to Live is the name of this podcast of mine. And Richard Gon is my alias. And this time, I'm going to tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode. Wait a moment, please. The title is Global Warming, So What? And the conclusion is, humans have adapted into various environments. It's fine to adapt into the globally warmed environments. So, why I began to say that this can be, well, this global warming can be one of the natural changes of the Earth. What I was saying is such a thing, and why I was saying this is that so it's fine just to adapt into a new situation, or adapt into a fresh situation, and human beings, and including not only human beings but actually other animals have adapted into various situations, or into changed situations. There have been many changes, including including those of climate on the Earth, and including for example, including the social changes, for example. So in the case of the Russo-Ukrainian War, and that is one of the social changes among human beings, or among humans. And in the case of for example, 1917, maybe it was 1917 in which Soviet Union had been established. I think after the revolution, Soviet Union was created, and the first leader was first secretariat. I don't know, but actually the first leader was Vladimir Lenin. Maybe his name was Vladimir. His name is not Lenin, and I thought his real name. Vladimir was his first name. I can't remember. And I thought his family name. Not Livaeta. Wait a moment, please. His family name had begun with U, which is my understanding. And wait a moment, please. I think we can find out this. I remembered. Ulyanov is his name. Reading English language, his name is Ulyanov, but actually he is Russian. Pronouncing Russian language. That is going to become not maybe, and I need some time for finding out his Russian name. To start with, he is Russian, so Russian name is weird. Calling his name Russian name is weird. And Lenin is, by the way, Lenin is his alias. So which is why, so in my case, Richard Gon is my alias. and as well as his learning. I can't, it's difficult for me to find out anyway. So his name must be here, but actually I can't find that because maybe because I was repeatedly speaking. Yes, this is Ulyanov is not Ulyanov, but Ulyanov is his family name, I think. And I'm sorry for my taking your precious time. And by the way, so Mr. Vladimir, not Vladimir Putin, but Mr. Vladimir Ulyanov has nothing to do with this episode. And anyway, so this establishment of Soviet Union had been one of the social changes, and maybe Russian people Soviet people had adapted into that situation, which is why many of them could survive, and but actually many people had died because they couldn't adapt into the new situation, and there had been massacre or decimation by Mr. Stalin, and who had killed more people than Mr. Adolf Hitler. And anyway, there are many social changes, but actually it's fine that adapting to a newer situations or new situations, whatever you call, well, you name it anyway to start with. And by the way, not by the way, so which is why, so what I'd like you to know this time is that, so the global warming these days, or the global warming this summer and the recent, in recent summers, I mean the global warming in this summer and including the recent summers for these years is one of the changes of ecosystem, which is what I think. But actually, so if you are worried about something, for example, your country may disappear if you live in some places having low, I thought how to say good, having low ground height, or having harsh ground level. If you live in some areas closer to, for example, closer to sea, closer to sea or closer to ocean, and your country may disappear from this earth. If the sea level rises higher, and if you live in such areas, and you need to move away from where you live in, and you need to live in some places with higher ground levels, and which is that is one of the strategies of adapting into the global warming. And I recommend that living in some places. So I'm saying the opposite stuff, but actually if you find some places you never, if you find some places which never get drowned into the sea, and they may be suitable because so there some places close to the sea hadn't got hot in this summer. And so comparing the temperatures in the places far from the sea and with the temperatures of the places really close to the sea, and the former, which means so the temperatures of the places far from the ocean are higher. So what I'm saying is that of course, what I'm saying, I'm not saying that so that the temperature in the top of the really high mountain is really high, which is not scientifically correct. So the temperature of the top of a really high mountain must be really low, like the temperatures of winters. But actually, there are some places which are far away from the sea, but actually, which is located really deeply into the continent. And please imagine such places. For example, so places like, how should I say? Southern Europe have higher temperatures, but actually, so my country has really good examples of the places with high temperatures, and they are really they are far away from the sea. But actually, you can't find out. You don't know the name of those places. And typical example can be Houston in the US. Houston is not so close to the sea. Maybe this is I don't know whether I don't know to which extent the temperature goes down or not. And but actually so that what I'm saying is that so some places which can be closer to the sea in the future can be good places to live in, because they do not incur the higher temperatures, which is what I'm saying. Well, which is what I'm recommend, which is what I'm saying anyway. But actually, so if you are afraid of getting, if you are afraid of your new places not going down, but get drowned into the sea, and you need to choose higher places. You need to other places with higher ground levels, and which is, I think that is such a thing is only stuff you can do, I think. But actually, in the case of other people, and it's fine to adapt into the warming situation anyway. Roughly saying, which I think this is all the stuff I'd like to tell you this time. So wait a moment, please. The title is global warming. So what? The conclusion is humans have adapted into various environments. It's fine to adapt into the globally warmed environments. So please strive to adapt into new situations of global warming. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening. See you.